Now, speaking of a roster, let's talk about the team in the ACC that has the most returning production from last year, and that is Virginia Tech. That's the final line we're going to talk about tonight. Clemson is a 5-point favorite. They are -5 against Virginia Tech. This is a lot of not only, well, yeah, a lot of the national media's kind of a lot of people are talking about Virginia Tech. One, because of the depth that they have coming back, the experience, the proven guys that they have coming back. And, they're talked about as, maybe one of those teams that could do like a Louisville did last year, just kind of the stars in line and you kind of have a really good run due to the veteran experience you have and maybe some younger talent maybe popping here and there. So Virginia Tech's one of those teams that's kind of being talked about preseason right now as a possibility to make some noise in the ACC and maybe even backdoor their way into an ACC championship game if everything goes according to plan. So, what are your thoughts on the line, and then just kind of thoughts on Virginia Tech and how their season may go this year?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm happy that Clemson is getting to go up to Virginia Tech. It's been a while. I think the last time was the COVID year, and that was a weird game. Now that I think about it, I think it was like 17-10. That was the game. I think Virginia Tech, they held the ball for most of that game. They just kept Clemson's offense off the field. It was like
Right.
17-10 at the start of the fourth quarter, and then Clemson, or 24-10 or something like that. Then Clemson blew it wide open. But there was no atmosphere up there because of the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
And
Cardboard
I'm
cutout.
happy that Clemson is actually going up there. It I Virginia Tech is one of those ACC venues that I have not been to yet. So I
Right.
want to be able to make it this year. So that's exciting. But as far as the line is concerned, I think with how Virginia Tech finished their year, they closed the year really strong. And again, like you mentioned, they're bringing back basically all of their production from last season. Obviously, they're starting quarterback Kyron Drones, who had a lot of success. And he's a very, very dual threat quarterback, really tough to take down, and they've done a lot to address the wide receiver room and the running back room, and obviously defensively they feel really good about where they are, which given who their head coach is, Brent Pry, he's a defensive mind. Yeah, that's to be expected. So Virginia Tech could be a really interesting team and a potential kind of dark horse to make some noise and challenge for Charlotte. So that's one of those games where Clemson could go up there and get beat. Like it wouldn't surprise me. So I think that line it could be higher maybe, but I think they are showing respect to that. The betting market is showing respect to what Virginia Tech is bringing back, and the track record of Clemson on the road as of late, where it's kind of like anything can happen when Clemson goes on the road, and especially in that environment. Uh, that Blacksburg and that stadium is one of the better environments in the ACC when especially when that team is good. So there's a lot of excitement around the program right now. So that could be a really tough game, especially if it's a night game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that could be, and that would be an awesome atmosphere to go see as well. Like, if that does end up being a night game for you and you do get a chance to go up there, um, that would be awesome. So, I'm interested to see how Virginia Tech, how their season pans out. You know, you talk about all their experience and their production coming back, and you know that's obviously the best you could hope for. So, and it'll be exciting to see Clemson play in that environment again. You talk about how long it's been, so um, going to be a really cool game to talk about and get ready for, and um, we'll see. But that line for me, I think I don't mind it. I think it seems right now. Like I said, there's a ton of football preparation anyway yet to be done before any of these lines really mean anything. you got to at least get through fall camp before you can kind of really dial in what these teams are truly going to look like. Because
if you take the teams from last season, if you take Clemson from last season and Virginia Tech from last season and put them against each other, five. I think that's kind of what this betting line reflects. It's like, I think Clemson would have been a 5-point favorite or something like that in Blacksburg, and they very well could have, if they had played last season. Clemson very well could have lost that game because they, with the turnovers issues they had this past season, they could have lost to anybody. So I don't want to say anybody, but they certainly had lost some games last season that they had no business losing, in large part to turnovers. So,
absolutely, turn the ball over in every single game last season, which
amazing.
is not a stat that we want to repeat. Starting with game 1, you can't turn the ball over in that game.
Yeah,
can't do it.
I think to beat Georgia, you got to be.
You got to.
I think you have to be plus. I think you have to be plus in the turnover.
Oh yeah. You got to
Can't even just be even. It needs to be plus.
Defense needs to produce a turnover, and the offense got to take care of the ball. You just can't. You can't do that. You can't put your defense in that situation. That's just not gonna. That's not gonna end well week 1. Obviously, it didn't end well. I mean, that's the reason that our season turned out the way that it did last year. It was because of turnovers at the worst times, and the most catastrophic turnovers. I mean, strip sacks, ran in for touchdowns, pick sixes,
fumbles at the goal line,
fumbles on the goal line, fumbles in your territory.
Yeah.
Just catastrophic. Like, not just turnovers. Because not every turnover is like, oh my God, that was catastrophic, right? Majority of Clemson's were last year. I mean, just like goal to go, fumble the ball. Goal to go, fumble the ball. We should have known. That Duke game set the tone for the whole season last year. Unfortunately, the writing was on the wall. I
don't even want to go back to my reactions to that.
It probably. I don't even remember what we said, honestly.
I remember we came on with Mark. That whole stream, I think, was a fever dream. It was just like I don't
remember, but I'm sure we probably alluded to the fact of, that's probably not going to continue, right? Like, that's an anomaly of turnovers. Like, that couldn't possibly keep happening. I'm sure we probably said something like that.
Probably.
And boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, man.
But hey, it is what it is, man. We start with UGA this year. Got, quite a few tough games in the first month and a half of the season. So Clemson's going to have to be prepared right off the rip. There ain't no September to kind of get the kinks worked out, if you will. This offense is going to have to hit the ground running from week 1, because there ain't no rest on Clemson's schedule, ranked top 10 strength of schedule in the country. So for all of those people that talk about, Clemson plays in the ACC and it's all, rainbows and unicorns and cotton candy, they got the 10th rated strength of schedule this season.